Welcome back to October Scaries, where I'm watching these 13 movies during the month of October and reviewing them. So, have you watched The Mill yet? It dropped on Monday on Hulu and stars Lil Rel Howery as Joe Stevens, a man who is kidnapped by his company, dropped into an open-air prison, forced to manually work a grist mill, and he has to meet a certain quota every day, and the punishment for not meeting his quota is termination. So why is he in this? How does he get out? Does he get out? Go watch it because I'm about to talk about it. So, The Mill. The Mill worked so much better as a commentary on a person or those who strive to excel in the corporate culture or just in the workforce in general. It works so much better as commentary on that, on the person, than as generic commentary on corporate life and the workforce as a whole. Because the commentary it makes about the workforce and work culture is very generic. It doesn't rise above any of the talking points we've seen on social media. It doesn't delve deeper. It doesn't say anything new. It doesn't really say anything smart. So the movie features a lot of the stuff we've talked about. So there's the We're a Family that the Mallard AI drops at one point. There's a lot of corporate speak. Like at one point, the AI talks about the crucible of adversity. You know, the work speak that like your eyes be glazing over because like it's just too much fancy words in a sentence. It also portrays striving to working for different things, right? So what drives people to work or drives people to excel and meet these ridiculous quotas and the profit and all that stuff. So it's freedom. In this case, Joe was literally working for his freedom, but we in society work for financial freedom. We work for a better life. So providing a better life either for ourselves than we had as a child or to provide a better life for our kid, like Joe was trying to do. At one point, Joe outright says like, this is nothing, this is meaningless, like pushing this mill around is meaningless. So it has a lot of that. And even like once he comes out of the simulation, the building where he works is very, very drab. It's like a fancy version of his prison. Like it's very drab, like there's no color, there's no life. So that's the obvious commentary about life. But I am so much more interested in Joe as a person. Exactly when he signed on the dotted line. When he signed on the dotted line, he came alive to me. So, walk with me. I'm starting off with a quiz. How many of you believe that Joe Stevens really is going to burn that mofo down? Why? Tell me why. Now, if you don't believe that he's going to burn the mofo down, like I don't, how many of you think it's because the company is just so big? It's $1 trillion company. How many of you think he's not going to be able to bring it down because the company is just too big? Tell me why in the comments. How many of you believe that Joe is not going to be able to bring down the company primarily because of who he is as a person? Boom, that's me. I'm in that camp, and let me tell you why. Who Joe is as a person, we know that based on how he acted in the prison, in the simulation. So let's talk about it. Joe is selfish. He's a selfish person. He's been working at Mallard for 10 years and has been trying to climb the corporate ladder. He is a middle manager. He's moved into corporate housing. You know, he moved his wife there. And he's very driven to succeed, very ambitious. So what do we see of Joe in the simulation? Joe shows absolutely no interest in his situation outside of, why am I here? What is this? And what can I do to get out? Primarily, Joe does not ask. He doesn't show an inkling of interest in his neighbor. He doesn't ask that man's name until almost an hour and a half into the movie. That is not acceptable. Considering this movie has nothing, literally nothing else going on aside from Joe and that damn mill, there is no excuse for him not asking that man, who are you? How long have you been here? Have you ever tried to escape? What have you learned? Like he's not smart at all. Or strategic. What have you done to try to escape? Who are these other damn people who I'm hearing, who are yelling at me? Who are they? No interest in building community at all until he sees that it can benefit him. All of a sudden, he's an activist. All of a sudden, he wants to bring people together, talk about some, if we don't work, they can't punish us. I didn't believe that while it was happening. That little speech You don't know who these people are. You are not invested in them. You're invested in them. You're only worried about yourself. The movie would have worked so much better if it was looking at, who do we become, as we're trying to survive in this capitalist society, in this workforce, especially when we want to get far and we're only thinking about us in terms of only thinking about our family. We're very us focused, like who do we become, what does it make of us. It didn't do that. Even when I pick up on Joe, I feel like it's an accident. I think they meant to play this straight in the movie, which doesn't work, but it's more interesting when I read Joe in the way that I'm talking about right now. The guy tells, even in prison, Joe is still trying to be the best there ever was. The guy tells him, don't aim too high because then they're going to expect that from you. He aims too damn high, and so then of course they expect that from him. And then he keeps aiming higher and not thinking about you're in prison. It's not like you're actually at work. He's not thinking about how that affects his fellow prisoners. He doesn't care because he's only concerned with himself. And then when he figures out there's an escape, he takes it and barely looks back. And then there's the part where they figure out, like, the guy's telling him, like, it's an AI. It's a machine that controls this. And Joe's like, wait a minute, it's a machine? Oh, so that means that it has to follow the rules. And I'm like, sir, why are you forgetting about the people who are involved in this? You were literally faced with a person who gave you a bath, who was spraying you with water. You were literally just hit by a person when you tried to escape. Based on how Joe behaved in the prison, I don't understand what leadership qualities they really saw in him. He didn't really display any real leadership qualities. That moment when he tried to stage a coup, please. So then eventually, the simulation stops after he beats HR. Well, that man's not HR, but I watched this with my sister Janine, and she was talking about somehow HR was standing there doing nothing because that's HR. Like, they're here for the company, not you. So whether you're Joe or you're that security guard who was getting his ass kicked, they're not here for you. They're just here to, like, witness and document, and that's it. There was also, like, the whole commentary about, like, the reward for good job, for doing outstanding performance is more work, as we saw. So there was also that. So Joe gets out, realizes what's been happening. The man doesn't even ask to go use the bathroom so that he can gather his thoughts. He's led up those damn stairs, gets promoted, I think, from middle management to now upper management. Somebody, like, did you catch that? It's higher. He got a promotion to a room with no damn windows. And he signs on the dotted line. I really thought they were going to show, like, he wrote, like, F you, but he didn't. And I like that. I like that he signed on the dotted line because that makes him interesting. He says, I'm going to burn this MFer to the ground. I think Joe is delusional and doesn't have a real grasp of who he is as a person. He is not going to burn it to the ground. First of all, I don't know why he would say that. It's $1 trillion company. You said that yourself. So you have no allies. You have no community. And I don't believe he's going to build it. I think Joe is he's deluding himself. The time to burn that MFer to the ground would have been to choose himself and not sign. Yes, that means that he wouldn't have been able to help anybody else, but that would have been okay. It would have made him, like, less interesting in the movie, less interesting overall, because I wouldn't have been able to read it any other way. But that would have been the time to choose himself, choose his family. I'm sure he would have gotten the severance package. He would have ended up in slightly uncomfortable, but that package would have helped move out of corporate housing and actually go be better. But by signing on the dotted line, he's saying that he gives these people permission. They really do know how best to push him to be better. Because if that was the test for this promotion, what's the test for the next promotion? You just signed an NDA. That means you can't tell anybody. Ultimately, the reason why I think Joe is bullshitting is because he's going to get sucked in by the promotion. More money. I think he's going to get a car. All the perks. He's going to get sucked in and he's going to forget about his little... Because right now it's hurt ego. That's it. Hurt ego. His feelings are hurt. He's going to burn it to the ground, but he's not. He's going to get sucked in and continue to be a cog in the machine in the real world. He's delusional. Like, I literally wrote in my notes, no, you ain't, bitch. You're not going to do it. I give this movie 3 out of 5, just average. I don't think we're supposed to read anything into Joe. I think they meant to play Joe straight and not really tell us anything about him and more so about, like, work culture. So for that reason, it's very, very average. 3 out of 5. The F-bombs, the many F-bombs at the very beginning, I feel like were a cop-out for writing real dialogue. And the lighting also wasn't great. Didn't really show us Lil Rel's emotions. And the way he pushed the mill was not believable.